everybody, welcome back to the show. This is the Mental Breakdown. I'm your host, Joey Velez. Today, I wanted to talk about the difference between confidence and arrogance. I think a lot of people oftentimes confuse the two. You'll hear someone describe a confident athlete as cocky, or they'll assume an arrogant athlete is simply self-assured. But while confidence and arrogance can look similar on the surface, they come from two very different places. Confidence is more rooted in things like preparation, whereas arrogance is more rooted in the need to appear better than everybody else. So if we break that down, a confident person trusts their abilities because they put in the work, they've practiced when nobody was watching, they've struggled, failed, but adjusted and improved. Their belief isn't based on hoping they'll perform well, it's based on evidence. A confident quarterback walks onto the field believing they can execute because they spent countless hours studying film and running reps. A confident golfer stands over a putt trusting their routine because they've hit thousands of putts before. Confidence says, I'm prepared. Now, when looking at arrogance, it's often masks by insecurity, or it masks insecurity. It seeks validation from other people. Arrogant athletes compare themselves to teammates, opponents, critics because their self-worth depends on being viewed as more superior. So arrogance says I'm better than everybody else. Confidence says I'm ready to compete. And that's a very important distinction. One of my favorite ways to explain this is that confidence is something that's more inward, whereas arrogance is something that's more outward. Confidence focuses on what you can control, so your effort, your attitude, your preparation, whereas arrogance more focuses on what other people think. Confident athletes don't need to remind everyone how good they are. Their performance speaks for itself. Another difference is how athletes respond to adversity. Right? So confident athletes understand that mistakes are part of competition. Missing a shot, making an error, making a mistake doesn't suddenly erase years of training and preparation. They recover quickly because one moment doesn't define them. Now, arrogant athletes often struggle when things don't go their way, since their identity is built on looking a certain way, looking superior. Failure feels like a threat. They may blame officials, teammates, coaches, or circumstances instead of taking ownership over what just happened. They So think about athletes you've admired the most. Many of them were incredibly confident, but they also respected their opponents. They remained coachable. They were willing to learn. That's another hallmark of confidence, is that confidence leaves room for growth. Arrogance believes that there's nothing left to learn. If you think you already know everything, then you stop improving. The best the best athletes in the world continue asking questions, seeking feedback, and refining their craft because they understand that growth never stops. Now, here's something to think about. Being humble does not mean thinking less of yourself. Humility means being honest about both your strengths and your weaknesses. You can acknowledge you're talented while also recognizing that there's always another level to reach. That's healthy confidence. Now, how do you build confidence? It doesn't come from motivational speeches, or it can, but oftentimes it doesn't. It doesn't come from compliments. Those help, but those aren't at the root of it. It comes from keeping promises to yourself. Every workout you finish, every practice where you stayed focused, every difficult conversation, every time you respond positively after a setback, those experiences become evidence. And over time, that evidence creates belief. Then, when the pressure's on, you're not just relying on hope, you're relying on preparation and evidence. So, here's something you can think about this week. So, at the end of each practice, each day, write down three things. What did I do well today? What did I learn today? And what will I improve for tomorrow? Now, notice that none of these questions involve comparing yourself to other people. You're comparing today's version of yourself to yesterday's version. That's where lasting confidence is built. So, as we wrap up, remember this: confidence doesn't need to be loud, it doesn't seek attention, it doesn't put others down. Confidence is quiet, because preparation is loud enough. Arrogance tries to convince people, confidence doesn't have to. So focus less on proving yourself to others and more on preparing yourself for the next opportunity, because when preparation meets opportunity, confidence follows. That's what I have for you all today. Okay. Thank you for listening. As always, go ahead and download, rate, review the podcast, share to your family and friends. Again, hop on the social medias, follow me. Ask me questions that I can potentially answer on the podcast. But I'm here for you all as a resource. Okay. But that's it. Have a good rest of your day, and don't forget today's a great day to make an impact on someone's life. All right, y'all. Have a good one.